James, last night the collegiate commissioners approved the early signing period to start this year. How will that change how you guys recruit players? Will you want all of your signees at that point to sign at that time? And how will it impact schools like yours that sometimes get guys late? You had some of those guys, Ellis Brooks, Therese Castro Fields, etc. in this class, and maybe there are guys you aren't able to get in under this new policy, depending on how things work out. Torres Brown maybe signs with South Alabama instead of Penn State if there's an early signing period then. So can you just comment on not just how it will impact you going forward, but also with your current group? Will you want all those guys to be in or not?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, because I think that's going to become the signing date. I think the second signing date, if I had to guess, 75 to 85% of the guys are going to sign on the first date. And then there'll be some things that are kind of still sitting out there. I think the one positive is you're not going to be in a situation where you get surprised on signing day. You may get surprised on the first signing day and still have a chance to kind of recover with the second one with a few weeks left. I think there's going to be some unforeseen consequences that come with this. That was my kind of concern all along. But I don't think it'll be as significant as people think.
James, I want to ask you get your thoughts on a couple of guys that are from this area. Do you have any thoughts on what Joey Julius is doing right now? I know I don't think he was with you guys in the spring. I think he just said he was going to go back into treatment. Any thoughts on him? Is there a door open for him to rejoin the team in the summer? And also, where's Andrew Nelson at kind of with you guys coming out of spring? I don't think he worked very much either.
Yeah. Very supportive of all of our guys that are going through, whatever setbacks or whatever challenges. We're very supportive of those guys, whether it's physical setbacks or whatever. But I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about the specifics, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to, based on HIPAA laws and things like that. Andrew Nelson is doing great. He's a really unique guy. He's very mature, which I think we probably lack a lot of that now in college football. There's just less and less fifth-year seniors. He's played a lot of football for us. He probably doesn't want to hear this, but I think there's good and bad that comes from the things that he's gone through. I mean, obviously you don't want any player to have the setbacks that he's had. But I will tell you, as we all know, you grow by going through adversity. And Andrew is a very smart, very humble, very hard-working kid who's handled a lot of adversity at an early age and handled it well. When the team's all out there at practice and you're in the treatment room there by yourself, it forces you to kind of to get to know yourself really well. He's one of these guys. His parents have done an unbelievable job with him. He's represented himself and the university and this community extremely well. I think Andrew's got a bright future still at Penn State and afterwards when it comes to football. But I'd also make the argument that he's one of these guys that, is going to be successful whatever he decides to do. He's really the type of guy we want to build our program around. And I couldn't be more proud of him. His parents have done a great job. His coaches in this area in high school have done a great job. So I couldn't be more proud of him. He's been a great representative. He actually just spoke at the endowment dinner and did an unbelievable job. He's a special guy.
Hey James, everyone's been asking you about benchmarking versus everyone else. But when people benchmark you, or you do it yourself, what are you guys better at than anybody else?
Great question. That is my
driving down.
Yeah. that is my argument. That is my argument with the administration. That is my argument, with our staff. Is there something at Penn State, as a university, as an athletic department, as a football program that we can hang our hat on and say we are the best at this thing? It's funny when you're talking about facilities, you're talking about salaries, you're talking about all these things. You say, well, we don't need to be the best in those things, but we need to be in that conversation. Well, what is it that we do better than anybody else in the country that we can say, look at us, we're the model? I would make the argument, it's probably not something that's easily calculated, but in development. I mean, you look what we did at our previous institution in 3 years. We did a heck of a job of developing them. And then I think, again, in year 3, I don't think anybody would have predicted in year 3 that we would have won a Big Ten championship with our first year back to 85. That's the thing that probably I'm most proud of. And when I talk about development, I'm talking about the assistant coaches. I'm talking about the strength staff. I'm talking about the academic staff. I'm talking about the whole complete picture, because when you say development, a lot of times it's a football coach, they think you're talking about football. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about preparing our guys for life. I'm talking about preparing them for Big Ten football. I'm talking about preparing them for the NFL. That's something I take a lot of pride in. To be honest with you, I take a little offense when people always say, well, those guys at Penn State and James Franklin, they're great recruiters. Well, I get that, but I would hope at this point, after what we did at Vanderbilt and after what we did at Penn State, or what we're doing at Penn State, that people say these guys do a great job of developing their players. They do a great job coaching their players. There's nothing wrong with being a great recruiter, but I think our staff and our program is more than that.